bringing you the story behind your favorite My Little Pony musicians. This is Behind the Brony. Welcome back to another wonderful installment of Behind the Brony, where we feature some of your favorite Brony musicians doing what they do best, making music that changes the world. Or at least the My Little Pony world. We don't know about the entire world, but we're hoping. Fingers crossed. And joining me now, I think, is one heck of an awesome Brony musician. He's one of my personal favorites. And if you have not heard, I think, his breakout song, Great to Be Different, you really need to listen to it, because it's just truly a song that'll make you feel better no matter what kind of day you're having. Help me welcome the one, the only, Forrest Rain. Forrest Rain, welcome to Behind the Brony.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you on here. Again, big fan of your work. I can't tell you how many times I've played Great to Be Different on the program, or I listen to it at work or on the go. It's one of those songs that, tugs at the heartstrings, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the interview. Now, of course, Before we start off, we got to ask the essential questions that every pony should know. What got you interested in My Little Pony?
That's interesting, actually. About 2 years ago, I guess, maybe slightly more, I guess it was about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever. I was working as a cable guy, and I would listen to CBC Radio 1, which is a lot like the BBC Radio, or Public Radio International in the States. And they had a show called Q with Jian Gameshi that was talking about this phenomenon called bronies, and how it was grown men who like this TV show reboot of My Little Pony. And the very first time that message came on saying that he was going to talk to somebody on the show about this, I thought to myself, yeah, that's probably something I'd be interested in. And I did catch the interview. I can't remember who it was from. I wish I did, but I caught the interview on the show, and first time I heard about it was on the radio. And I decided that night I'd go home and I'd download a few episodes and see if I'd like it. And I came home, and I think I watched the first 2 episodes and was blown away. I was like, this is the exact plot of every Final Fantasy game ever, and I love it. But yeah, so that was pretty much my introduction to it.
Oh, Final Fantasy, I never thought of it that way, actually. That's actually a very good way to look at the first 2 episodes of My Little Pony Season 1. Well, now I'm going to be expecting to hear when they defeat Nightmare Moon the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and then Pinkie Pie gains like 50 experience points and learns Curaga. There's that Final Fantasy nerd talking.
Yep.
So a cable guy, so I assume you don't have a hilarious catchphrase like, get her done.
I don't, but oddly enough, my boss was named Larry. Yeah, my boss was Larry, the cable guy.
I bet he got that a lot.
He didn't get it so much from us, but I'm sure he got it from other people.
Yeah, I bet if he had a bit for every time he got called Larry the Cable Guy and asked about eating britches. Oh, yeah. Well, that's great. So, who is your favorite pony?
Oh, that's easy to answer. My favorite pony is Starborn.
Wait, hang on. I gotta... What? I gotta Google. Who is Starborn? And forgive me for being ignorant.
Great to Be Different?
Yes.
Starborn is the girl that wrote the letter that inspired the song.
Oh.
And coincidentally, my fiancé.
Ooh! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Now we're going to have to get you a wedding gift. What do you get for the pony that sings It's Great to Be Different About Everything?
A stack of letters, I don't know.
I don't know. Muffins.
Muffins. Okay. Muffins work, yeah.
Okay, well, an OC, we never had that. We usually had someone say it's a main 6 or a background character.
Yep.
But first time, all right. That's awesome, That's awesome. Oh, we're going to be talking a lot about Great to Be Different. Trust me, we're going to be talking about that. But anyway, what is your favorite episode of My Little Pony?
That's a good question.
And don't say It's Great to Be Different, because that's not an episode yet. Give it time.
I guess for the first season, I really loved Winter Wrap Up, just for the music that came out of it, and The Best Day Ever, also for the music that came out of it. In later episodes, I actually really enjoyed Twilight becoming an alicorn, because it was an episode that I completely didn't think that I would like it all, and I did. I loved it.
Yeah, that's the unique thing about the whole alicorn thing. Everyone's been, taking different sides about it. Some love it, some hate it, some just don't want to see it happen. Well, I think eventually in the end, everyone's going to be an alicorn. It's just a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. But I did like it. I personally liked it. I mean, I don't know if everyone likes it, but that's okay, because that's what makes My Little Pony awesome. You don't have to like everything, and that's totally cool. So, tell us a little bit about your start in music.
Like before the pony fandom, or
yes, BC, before Canterlot.
Before Canterlot. Let's see. I think I first started just kind of playing around with piano when I was like, I don't know, really, really young, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something like that. I just started doing stuff, and my parents noticed that every time that there was a piano, I kind of gravitated towards it and, tried to figure stuff out on it. And I was really good at figuring stuff out by ear. So they enrolled me in piano lessons, and that was terrible. I think by the end of piano lessons, I was pretty much spending more time talking to my piano teacher about like Half-Life and Quake 2 than I was about actually doing any kind of learning on it. So we kind of stopped the lessons there. But yeah, I've been doing that for a while. I went to an arts high school for doing a triple major in drama, instrumental music, and vocal music. And that was great. It was fantastic to go to an arts high school and just kind of, be surrounded by that every day. Past that, I went to college for recording arts technology. And that's where I kind of learned Pro Tools and how to, mix properly, and learn stuff about TV sound and a bunch of different things when it comes to recording. But so far as, producing my own music and stuff, I've been doing that since forever. I've been doing it more professionally, quote unquote, since the fandom, because I've just had more things to sort of inspire me and to motivate me to work on stuff.
That's cool. I too have a bit of an electronic media major myself. I specialized in radio, though, so I'm trying to make my big claim as the next big radio personality in America.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know. I know. You're actually not in the U.S. You're actually in Canada.
I am in Canada, but as I said, I'm engaged to Starborn, so you could expect to see me in the States sometime in the future. We're working on that whole visa thing. It takes a long time.
Maybe you should switch to a MasterCard.
MasterCard.
Just saying, just saying, because some places money won't buy, and everything else there's MasterCard.
I don't think the States will accept MasterCard for me to move there.
Yeah. Well, we just got done with Canada Day, celebrating everything that was awesome from Canada, including Andrew Libman's super sweet "Oh Canada" as Fluttershy. Oh, that was so sweet. We should have bottled it and sold it to put on pancakes.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of ironic that a Canadian Brony artist is releasing a CD on Canada Day.
Well, that's what this interview is all about.
Yes, it is.
Oh, gosh, someone get the gong. Well, anyway, I think we should talk about one of your earliest pieces. I think one of your best ones. That's just my opinion. You can take it for what you want. Great to Be Different, which you recorded with Decibel. So can you tell us a little bit about what went behind the story of writing it?
Absolutely. So Great to Be Different had its roots in BronyCon of 2012, the summer BronyCon. It was the first convention I had ever gone to, and I had an artist alley table there, and I noticed some people were getting these letters that were sealed with hearts, presumably written by Derpy. And at one point I came back to my artist alley table, and I found a letter sitting right beside it. And so I picked it up, opened it up, looked inside, and all it said was, "It's great to be different, love Derpy." And it really touched me. And I kind of had a moment behind the artist alley table, and then I kind of put it away and forgot about it until after the convention. When I got home, I was going through my things, and I found the letter again, and I was like, okay, I'm really inspired by this. This message really touches me. I have to write something about this. And I actually wound up writing the entire song that night. And I just I like proofread it and fixed it up a little bit the next day, and then I spent the next month actually working on it. And in that time, I did a few interviews on like Purple Tinker's show, The Old Grey Mare, and I think on Everfree and a few other places, Philly Radio, obviously, since I spend a lot of time over there. And every time I did any kind of interview or talked about BronyCon, I mentioned this letter, and I said I want to meet the person that wrote it. And nobody knew who it was until I released Great to Be Different. And when I released it, the day after, one of my co-hosts from EOH, ironically enough, Zeta Prime, contacted me and said, hey, I know the girl who wrote the letter. And he introduced me to Starborn. And we sort of got talking, and the next convention I was going to was Canterlot Gardens. We both went there and hit it off immediately, and we've been together pretty much ever since. And then the year after, the BronyCon of 2013, is when I got engaged to her. And I did it on stage at BronyCon.
Aww.
Yeah. Everfree has the video up for it, so you guys can check it out. I think it's the very start of the second half of the concert or something.
That makes you want to shed the tears. Oh, man, that is beautiful. And I wish you guys the very best.
Thank you.
Because this is what makes the Brony fandom so cool. People are finding their soulmates in this fandom. Now, of course, you could say that about anything. The Whovians, the Trekkies, the Dungeons and Dragoners. I don't know what they call themselves. I'm just spitballing here. But you have the show that brings people together through the power of friendship. And I think they need to change that. We need to go from friendship to just straight up love, because this is a true romantic story if I've ever heard one. And I am so happy that you two are united by this common thread.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It really is. It's the most fantastic thing about this fandom is that friendship truly is magic. As corny as that sounds, but like I've met probably the greatest friends I've ever had through this fandom, and which is why for Something Special I put right on the CD, this album would not be possible without the love and support of my online Brony family, because the people that I've met through this fandom have just been the most amazing people in the world.
You're preaching to the choir, man. I have met so many great people through this show, and again, they continue to support this show as well. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. But of course, musicians like you and Tombstone and Glaze, you guys are the reason that the show even exists. So it's your creativity and your stories that you tell through your music that help fuel the Brony fandom and create shows like this. So, it's a symbiotic relationship. We feed off each other. And again, if that's wrong, then Forrest, I don't want to be right. So anyway, let's talk about this brand new album you have. This is going to be something special because it's titled Something Special.
Truth.
And it dropped last night on Philadelphia Radio and Everfree Network. And from what I've heard so far, it's the cat's pajamas, if cats wore pajamas. It's the bee's knees. If bees had knees, then you'd see these. Tell us a little bit about this new album.
Sure. Compared to the first album I released, My Little Pop Punk Pony, this has sort of a greater mix of genres in it. It's not as dynamic as somebody like Seventh Element, who has genres up the yin yang, but it incorporates a little bit of orchestral elements. There is a good helping of pop punk alternative stuff in there, but there's also pop. There's like piano instrumental. So yeah, there's a good mix. It's an 8-track album, and 2 of the songs on it were featured on both Everfree and Philadelphia Radio. Since I have strong ties to both of these networks, I decided that for the past month or so I'd be featuring 2 songs from the album. So Everfree has had Polychromatic, a cover of Turquoise Splashes song, playing for the last month, and Philadelphia Radio has had Alone. And both of those tracks are unique in the sense that Polychromatic probably has the most intense vocals I've ever done. And it's kind of a funny story. When we had Turquoise on Elements of Harmony, when he was watching his episode, we played Polychromatic at one point, his version of it. And I remember him just saying, "Oh, I hate this song. I hate it. I can't stand it anymore." And I'm like, I can relate, because that's kind of how I felt about Join the Herd after I released it. I said to him, "I'm going to do a cover that you're going to like. You're going to like your song after I do a cover." So I decided to do a cover of Polychromatic, and it turned out really well. And I asked him if he liked it, and he's like, "It's okay. Fine. I like the song. It's all right." And then Alone is unique in the sense that it's probably the hardest like instrumental that I've done. And it also features pretty intense vocals, but it's more of a bass-driven song, and it features Midnight Melody, who is the bass player for Equestrian Lord. Features her on bass, and yeah, I don't know. It's just those two songs sort of stood out as unique turning points, I guess, in my musical style.
Yeah, well, again, you got to be multi-ranged as a musician in the Brony fandom nowadays. You got to be able to look at all different aspects of music, all different genres and groups. You don't want to leave out any specific group, though I think you need to focus a little bit on the slide whistle group, I found a slide whistle, so I figured we go with it. Yeah, just doing your song on slide whistle, like... That's my attempt at Great to Be Different on a slide whistle.
I have to ask you now, have you ever had Brony Mike on this show?
No, I have not.
If you invite Brony Mike onto this show, you two are going to have like a slide whistle battle.
Challenge accepted. Okay, we are going to get him out of here. Oh, great, it'll be Brony Mike versus Mike Check. Oh, boy. That's going to be fun. So, you were saying that you were talking about this show, Elements of Harmony, on the Everfree Network, Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's right.
You're one of the hosts, so tell us a little bit about the Elements of Harmony, beside the show, not what they are in the other series, your show.
Elements of Harmony in the show, not Elements of Harmony in the show.
The show. No, okay. How about, tell us about the Elements of Harmony on the network, not the Elements of Harmony in the show.
All right, the big scary show we do on the Big Blue Network. Okay. Well, Elements of Harmony, actually, I'm one of six or seven hosts that appear regularly, but we usually have about 5 hosts on every episode. Essentially what it is, we've kind of expanded our show styles a little bit for summer, but in general, our show is focusing on musicians in the fandom, and basically inspirations and stuff behind these musicians, as well as technical elements of the music that these musicians produce. So for each of our regular shows, we'll bring on X musician from the fandom. For example, most recently we had on Pony One Kenobi, and we'll sort of talk to them. We'll find out their background. For people that have never heard of them before, we feature music from them. We talk about their musical inspirations, their musical backgrounds, the instruments they play, and we'll go into technical elements about some of these instruments and stuff. As we like to call it, the people's guitarsenal.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a term coined by Six String, one of the other hosts. I should probably mention the other hosts. So our other hosts are Zeta Prime, as I mentioned earlier, Six String. We also have Starlight Ironhoof. And hosts that appear sometimes would be Slipstorm and Midnight Rain. We do regular shows that feature stuff with particular musicians. In the summer, we've kind of opened up our show format a little bit. So we do live shows every once in a while that focus on new music within the fandom. And over this summer, we've been doing shows that have been covering convention stuff. So if we get snippets of music from conventions or video of people performing, that kind of thing, we'll go through that. And we talk to musical artists who have attended these the conventions that are going on, and to get kind of their perspective of how everything worked out.
That sounds cool. You guys got anything from TrotCon?
TrotCon. I think we did a show on TrotCon. I think last Tuesday, and I think we had Knife Pony on.
Oh, cool.
Actually. Yeah, so they talked a little bit about their experiences there.
A lot of great musicians up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Very talented, like Shake-Ups, but I'm a very big Shake-Up fan. But so guys, check it out, Elements of Harmony on Everfree Network, Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with this guy. Forest Rain, and some other guys, but this is Forest Rain's episode, so we got to focus on him. Now, I was doing some Googling, and I came across a website, and I didn't think that this was related to a song you did.
But it totally is.
It totally is. GreatToBeDifferent.com. Now, could you tell those who may have never seen this site before about GreatToBeDifferent.com?
Sure. In the lead up to one of the conventions that I was doing, I can't remember which one, but this was, back just after Great to Be Different was released. After I released Great to Be Different, I got so many comments and stuff from people saying that, that it's, changed their lives, or it's helped them in some way, or it helps them cope with something in their lives, that I'm like, okay, I want to do like a project, a community project to sort of bring everybody together. So I put out a call, and I'm like, okay, anybody that has any kind of videos or pictures or stories of, how you're different or why you're different, or examples of being different and why you're good with that, send it to me. And so I put something together called the Great to Be Different community video, which is what I was using as my sort of backdrop whenever I was performing Great to Be Different in concert. And it's just, I got so many fantastic responses from people because of that I couldn't fit everything into the community video, and I felt pretty bad about that. And I was like, okay, I need somewhere to like showcase this stuff, because there's so many awesome stories and pictures and stuff like that I need to showcase this. So I decided to create a website called GreatToBeDifferent.com, where these things can be featured. So it's, if you're ever in a bad spot and you want to see if anybody else has ever been through the same kind of thing, or you just want to celebrate how people are different, you can go there and check out all the stories and images and stuff, because there's a lot of things that are on there.
I think in a time when bullying is on a rise, and even us in the fandom, we've seen some of the victims of bullying, like Michael Morones, who was bullied because he likes this show. A lot of people may not know that there are people out there like that can do sites like these that build support from the fandom within. And I think that this site helps anyone of any age, adult, teenager, even an elderly person. I don't know how many elderly people are into My Little Pony, but we're just assuming that they're there because we don't discriminate.
There's a few.
Yeah, okay, good. Didn't want to feel like I was a weirdo, but I think it's important to know that GreatToBeDifferent.com offers support for those who, are going through rough patches in their life. Divorce, parents splitting up, a lot of very hard times. But it's important to be able to find somewhere where you can share your feelings and talk to people who will not judge, not discriminate, and not make fun of you. And this fandom has accumulated in this one website, GreatToBeDifferent.com, by the way, and you can draw inspiration from the different letters, the videos, and the pictures that are posted regularly on this website.
Absolutely. And coming on the heels of, Pride Week, and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's fantastic that there's so many supporting people in this fandom. And it's not just one side either. Like, Great to Be Different has its place. But I mean, you can find people that will help you through problems almost anywhere in this fandom, from, contacting other people on YouTube, or going to a site like Rainbow Dash Network, rainbow-.net. I've met a bunch of great friends through rainbow-.net, especially early on in the fandom. That's kind of where I came from almost. And even like the Everfree IRC, the Canternet, any of the stuff on the Canternet IRC. There's people there that will talk to you and can help you through things. And yeah, it's not hard to find help in this fandom.
Well, Forrest, I don't see any reason why no one should go check out greattobedifferent.com. I think it's a great site. It's got obviously a lot of inspiration behind it, and it's about one unifying goal: friendship.
Absolutely.
And what's wrong with that? Not a thing. So check it out. We'll have a link to it in our show notes at carelotradio.com/episode 58. Yeah. Wow. So anyway, along with singing, which you're also good at, you've also done some narratives on your YouTube channel, youtube.com/put trust in fate.
Yep.
What got you interested in doing the narratives, and can you tell us a little bit about your current series, Upheaval?
Yeah. The narratives kind of started around the same time that I kind of got into the fandom. It's always been, I guess both the music and the narratives are always things that I enjoy doing. I like telling stories. It's a neat thing to do. But coming into the fandom, I got so inspired by all the fan fictions I was reading and all the music that I was hearing, and I was just kind of blown away by how much artistic creation is going on here. So really, it's just it gave me an excuse to sit down with my microphone and talk into it, which I seem to be doing a lot of these days because I'm doing, music and fan fiction readings and like interviews like this one. Yay! And hosting shows and like appearing on the PhillyCast on Sundays when that's going on Philadelphia radio, and Elements of Harmony on Tuesdays. So
on Everfree Network.
Yep. So I'm sitting in.
Gotta plug it.
So I'm sitting in front of my microphone a lot these days, which is probably why I haven't updated stuff in a while. That and working a lot, like in real life. Yeah. And
gotta fix
there's people in the hallway crying.
Maybe they're crying because we're talking about your new album, Something Special, which just dropped yesterday, and your awesome song, Great to Be Different. They're not tears of sadness, Forrest. They're tears of joy.
I suppose we'll go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so far as Upheaval, I've been doing Upheaval since close to when I first started recording stuff for my YouTube channel, actually. It's been going on for a while. It's actually written by a cool dude named Viziden Vizidane, which I don't know that much about, honestly. I think he's like in the Philippines or something, but he writes awesome stuff, and it's kind of like the it's similar in vein to Fallout Equestria, but it's not based on any kind of crossover or anything. So it's not based on that world at all. It's its own thing, its own unique world. And there's a lot of really interesting characterizations in it that are just a lot of fun to do. Like one of the main characters is
Vanguard Clash of the Northern Equestrian Legion, Special Operations, 3rd Squad.
And he has an interesting voice.
That was awesome.
Then there's also, like a grumpy doctor in there, and he's named Redbrand. And Redbrand doesn't take any crap from anybody. So there's just neat characterizations that I get to do with it. It makes it a lot of fun for me. And there's, some really, heart-wrenching moments and stuff like that. You really have to either listen to it or read it in order to fully appreciate it. But if you like, I try to stay away from the term grimdark, but like if you like sort of a darker fiction that's about a darker world, a world at war, a world where everything isn't all just, Mary Sue happiness and rainbows, where there's actually serious problems going on, and like Twilight and her friends are actually drafted both literally and figuratively into helping solve those problems, then this fic would probably be for you.
Oh man, that is kind of dark. Yeah, Twilight going through a war-torn Equestria. Man, that is some heavy stuff right there, man. Man, I guess they'd say war is ever free as compared to war is hell.
Actually, the majority of stuff takes place outside of the parts of Equestria that we know. So the parts of Equestria we know would be referred to as like the Heartland, whereas this stuff, a lot of this takes place in the northern reaches of Equestria, outside of, far away from Canterlot and Ponyville and all that stuff.
Yes, where the ponies ride motorcycles and try to get that precious gasoline. and they don't need to someone to find the way home. They just gotta find beyond Thunderdome. And Pinkie Pie has a cupcake boomerang blade.
Maybe it's further up in Canada where gas is like $6 a gallon.
$6, man! I thought we had it bad.
It's up at $1.40 a liter right now, or slightly above, which I think is getting close to $6 a gallon.
Dang, and Canada.
Yeah, more reasons why I want to move to the States. They're just piling on, really.
Well, you haven't got that much longer. You're going to be coming to BronyCon. Let's talk about that. All right. Yeah, you held an Indiegogo a couple of months ago to raise funds to go to BronyCon and hopefully perform. Are we going to see an awesome performance by Forest Rain at BronyCon?
You're going to see the most awesome performance by Forest Rain at
BronyCon.
Performances. Yeah, so I'm really super thankful to all the people that helped with that Indiegogo campaign, and there's a lot of people that got the CD that we've been talking about. One of the perks of that.
You don't mean something special now available on Bandcamp?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So as one of the perks of that fundraiser, people that were donating $25 or more, up to 35 people or whatever, receive a physical copy of that CD. So I'm actually going to be sending those out probably today, since it'll be broadcast on the Wednesday. But yes, yeah, so I'll be sending out a bunch of physical copies for those people, so they should see them soon. So if you're one of those people, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. But
don't worry, guys. Forest Rain will get you physical.
I'm on top of things. But yeah, so it's going to be an amazing performance at BronyCon because I've actually put together a band for the first time ever.
Forest Rain and the Rainstorm.
It's more like Forest Rain and the motley crew of Brony musicians you all know and love. But yeah, so I have a guy that I found a guy online that was doing drum covers of my stuff, and I invited him to actually perform my set with me. His name is Night Lightning, and he's a really solid drummer. It's pretty fantastic, the stuff that he does, and he put up an amazing drum cover of, I think, Supernatural. And he already knows all my songs, so it works out. So I have Night Lightning. I'll have Danny Brony on guitars for me. I'll have Pony One Kenobi up there, I'm sure, singing along with me. I'll have Cyril on bass, Cyril the Wolf. I'll have Midnight Rain on piano and guitars. And I have Decibel coming on to sing Great to Be Different with me, as well as Starborn will be singing Great to Be Different with me, since she's been the Decibel stand-in at pretty much any of the conventions I did last year. And, when you're engaged to your fiance and you're doing concerts, you kind of have to perform with your fiance. It's one of those things that's kind of written into the invisible fiance contract.
Yeah, I know that. If I had a fiance, she'd probably be doing the show with me right now and trying to take most of the mic on her, so I would get none. Hey, that's one of the prices to pay when you get married, my friend. So,
yep.
So Celestia, have mercy on your souls. But again, I joke. I think you guys are going to be entering a very, very prosperous time in your lives, and again, we wish you all the very best.
Yep. As she likes to put it, she has an eternity to make me miserable. Yay! Yeah. But if you knew her, you'd know that that's how she do.
Well, we'll be going to BronyCon in August as well, so we'll have to meet you guys, maybe do a follow-up interview.
For sure, yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah, and like I said, it's pretty much Forest Rain and every Brony musician ever on stage. So be sure to check out the Brony Palooza this year. It's going to be a fantastic time.
Brony Palooza, part of BronyCon, the first weekend in August. There are still passes available, so be sure to get yours today. So before we let you go, Forrest, do you have any advice for those who want to become musicians in the Brony fandom themselves?
It's always an interesting question. It's always one of the questions we like to throw at artists that we bring on.
Well, now I'm throwing it at you.
Harmony. It's a hard question to answer because there's so many different types of advice you can give. And there's always the the stereotypical advice. Like if I was Silvahound right now, I'd be talking about believing in yourself and never letting go. I'm sure that's a song. But anyway, so there's that. Obviously, the stereotypical stuff. Yeah, that's all true. Believe in yourself, all that stuff. I think the most unique piece of advice that we ever got, which I will repeat here because it's good advice, is if you are looking into being a Brony musician, don't just look at being a Brony musician. Most of the successful musicians that you find in the Brony fandom also do other stuff. They're kind of a well-rounded individual. Like I do paintings, I do fan fiction readings. Sliffstorm does animation. Decibel does artwork. So there's a lot of different things. P1K just does a lot of interesting things, like really hardcore rock band. Yeah. But advice. Yeah, that. So there's that. And then there's also learn your instrument well. If you're playing an instrument, learn it well. If you're using a digital audio workstation for recording, learn it well. It doesn't matter what other people are using. If you know Audition better than, Fruity Loops, then try to make stuff in Audition. If you're, if that's not a big thing to you and you're just doing the feather thing and recording your stuff in GarageBand, that's fine. Do what you already do and just try to do it as best as you can. And that's probably the biggest thing is just, do what you do well. Work on it. Yeah. Don't expect to, just have things come to you.
Yeah. Don't be the next Forrest Rain. Be the first you.
True. Yeah, that's true. But don't be afraid to cover people, though. And don't be afraid to, do other people's songs. That's something that'll really help you as a musician, too. By covering other people's songs, you're learning, intricacies of music and how to make things sound a certain way. Learning new licks, that kind of thing. So yeah, don't be afraid to cover people. Don't be afraid to do, to work on your stuff. That's terrible.
No, that's fine. That's great advice there. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll do a song together on slide whistles.
And I'll accompany you on kazoo.
Oh man, now I'm going to have to bring some BronyCon with me. Everyone's going to expect a slide whistle.
You should, because if you ever run into Brony Mike and like the pack of wild animals that follow him around, you're going to have an instrument, otherwise you will be eaten to death. Okay, so kazoo's a good standby.
Yeah, kazoo or slide whistles.
Yep.
Well, anyway, guys, check out Something Special, now available on Bandcamp. It's going to be an awesome album, and stay tuned because you may just be able to win a digital copy through Canterlot Radio. Check out Forrest Rain on Twitter at Forrest Rain Media. You can also check out his awesome YouTube channel at Put Trust in Fate for new songs, new readings of his hit reading of Upheaval, and you just never know, because he's worth a subscription. Well, Forrest Rain, thank you so much for being here on Behind the Brony. It was truly a huge honor, and I hope we have you on in the near future.
Yeah, not a problem. It was fantastic coming on. It's great. I'm very honored to be on Canterlot Radio finally.
Awesome. Well, we just have one more thing to ask. Would you, by chance, do a song for us?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we may or may not have a song by Forrest Rain. You may or may not be listening to Canterlot Radio here or not here on Philadelphia Radio, which may or may not be a part of Ponyville Live.
Or not.
Hi, every pony. We're the Shakeups in Ponyville.
And you're listening to Canterlot Radio.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mike Check, Behind the Brony with Mike Check. My Little Pony with Mike Check. Friendship is magic on Canterlot Radio.